Well, we've said it once. We'll say it again and again, Zach Schnitzer. They don't ask how. They ask how many. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers ugly their way to their 7th straight win to start the season, 24-10 in Edmonton tonight. Your initial thoughts, Zach? Like, this game was a weird one, to put it one way.
A win's a win, baby. You know, I had so many years of watching terrible, terrible Bomber football. To see them win and go 7-0, that's awesome. They went on the road. It was ugly. They grounded out. They had some luck. Another Mark Leggio timely penalty. Wow. It was like if Leggio doesn't take that penalty or if he doesn't get hit, do the Bombers win that game? I'm not so sure, man. I don't know. So that's but I'm going to try and we'll get to that in a second. Listen, I'm going to try and be positive because I had such a good first experience today, Darren, in a spin class with our good friend Lefty Carroll. I was right beside Christina Bighill at Cycle Studio. She kicked my butt hard. I didn't even know who it was beside me because they have it dark in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, who is this lady? And I'm trying to catch up to her. And it was my first ever class, but I didn't want to look like an idiot. My God. She is in shape. Adam Bighill's wife is in shape as well, my friend.
Big surprise. Like Adam, I don't know if there's anybody in better shape than Adam Bighill in all of pro football, not just the CFL or Canada. So no surprise.
But she was great, so friendly, you know, and what a great family. And Carol did an amazing job. Shout out to Carol. So I couldn't be in a bad mood. It was such a good workout. And even though everyone's saying now I have a baby face, it did age a little bit, Darren. I wouldn't say I enjoyed watching the game, but I'm happy they won. And there were some things that I really, really liked. And just before I stop yammering for a second, let me say the best part about that game is that it was broadcast in the Cree language. I just think that is awesome. I think we need more of that. I think, you know, it's bigger than football, and I just think that's super great. That's putting your money where your mouth is, and that's Victor Cui, who is just knocking it out of the park. By the way, he follows me. I don't know if he follows you, Darren. Victor Cui, the president of the Elks, although someone told me it's just an algorithm. He follows people who have like more than 500 followers.
You got all that. You got all that clout, right?
But, so much clout, but I'm really just a lout. But that was super cool. And hey, a win's a win. A win's a win, man.
Yeah, a win is a win. I think you hit the nail on the head, though, Zach. That penalty that Mark Leggio drew in the fourth quarter was huge, right? Like that extended the drive. That 10-yard penalty leads to a 15-play drive that goes only 62 yards, but enough to get into the end zone and put Winnipeg up, which was the final score, 24-10. I don't know if Winnipeg would have lost if that didn't happen because Edmonton didn't score any more points. The 2 interceptions Zach Collaros threw tonight, the first one, maybe you could hang on him, but Edmonton went 2-0. The next one, you can't hang on him. His arm got hit as he threw. It went into an area of the field where nobody was around except for Edmonton Elks. Jerron Carter pulls it in. And then Edmonton has like a 24-yard strike to Kenny Lawler. And then they go 2-0. So 3 plays and 2. They get 5 plays, no points, not a lot of yards outside of a Kenny Lawler catch, who, you know, he was clearly motivated tonight. You saw it crystal clear, fired the F up.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny Lawler was to face his former team. But regardless, Edmonton didn't do enough to keep pace with the best team in the land right now. That is the 7-0 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Thanks to everybody who's joining us in the live chat. You're watching live on YouTube or Facebook. If you're watching live on Twitter, head over to youtube.com/Bonfire Sports or click that link. You'll find it in my Twitter feed as well. And then you can join the live chat, just like all these great people that are here today. How about this? Phyllis, who joins us once again, as always. How you doing, Phyllis? Happy to see Rashid Bailey get his first touchdown of the season. Bailey didn't have huge numbers, 2 catches for 37 yards, but I'm sure that touchdown early in the game felt good. A 26-yard strike on just a one-play drive after the Dietrich Nichols interception and that pressure on Taylor Cornelius caused by Malik Clements. So the defense, I think, really contributed almost entirely to that first touchdown Winnipeg scored. But good for Rashid to get it going. He said it this week, Zach. Rashid Bailey asked, where's the production? Where's the numbers? Where have you been? What's with the slow start? It's coming. His direct quote in practice earlier this week.
So he backed it up big time. But yeah, I like how you say that. It's almost a defensive touchdown, and that, and you see this a lot in the CFL where after a big turnover, a good team will take a shot, right? And he threw it per Zach's ball. Like, Zach was off a few balls today. I'm not going to dance around it. I don't think you will either. I don't think anybody's going to say 43% was good, but when it mattered, he did what he had to do, and that was a perfect throw. I think the halfback was a little bit slow in turning around to Bailey. This game almost, like, I'm thinking of a car metaphor. Like, the Bombers are a bright, beautiful blue Ferrari with 2 racing stripes for 2 Grey Cups. And it's like someone stripped them down today to the bare bones, and they were all rusty and like blotched.
Wow.
And they were racing against a tractor, and they won the race, but they just barely crossed the line ahead of the big lumbering tractor. Like, oh my God.
Let's not pretend this is outside of the norm of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this season, right? They've, I like the way, I think it was Matt Dunnigan put it just kind of like after the game on TSN's recap. Are they playing to the level of their opponents? They beat Ottawa 19-17. They go to, that's at home. Yeah. Then they go to Ottawa, they win 19-12. Hamilton comes to down. Okay, good win, 26-12. They go to they go to Toronto. They win by 1 on a missed convert.
Yeah.
That game should have gone to overtime. You never know what's going to happen in overtime. The Bombers' only loss was Zach Collaros at quarterback. Meaningful loss was in Toronto, but they pull a win out there. They go to BC and they douse the fire of the red-hot BC Lions. Great. 26-19 win over the Calgary Stampeders. And then a win tonight that, by any other account, when your quarterback goes 7 of 16 for 188 yards and turns the ball over twice, when your run game puts up less than 100 yards, when you're relying on your defense for field position, no explosion plays in the return game or on special teams, this should have been a loss. I would say if this was in Calgary, which the Blue Bombers travel to next week in a fight for first place in the West.
Oh yeah.
Once again, that would be a loss.
They'd be frickin' obliterated.
Probably. I want to hear what you all think out there. Are you concerned about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Yeah, they're 7-0. Feel good. Drink it in. Absolutely. But in the back of your mind, in the corner of your cynic brain, the cynic corner of your brain, are you worried? Is there concern? It was an ugly one tonight, but it seems like, in my opinion, I'm not concerned, but I would understand why fans would be. I'm not concerned because Winnipeg just plays winning football. They stay even keeled. Yeah. They don't get into the bad habits of the bad body language or here we go. That's the 2013, 2014 Blue Bombers. Mike O'Shea took over right after that time or during that time. And well, he got rid of all that. He got rid of all that negativity and those things that football teams or pro sports teams can fall into, some of those bad habits,
And the thing that I love about the Bombers, even if they win ugly, is they do things right. Like, teams are going to make mistakes. Like I told you in midweek, and you didn't believe me, Darren. This is the one time I've had something right on you, so I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
You're gonna have to, because
I gotta have to, because it doesn't happen often, Mr. Professional Journalist. Who am I? I'm just a dumb fan. But listen, I said Zach Collaros wasn't going to keep that pace up on midweek. I said he's not always going to be that accurate. He's not always going to
Sure.
be that razor sharp. And you're like, no, he'll keep that accuracy up. But he didn't tonight. He's 43%. It's not all on Zach, of course. It's a 12-man game, or it can be a
Well, and
12-woman game.
you're
But
playing against an opponent.
you're
You're
playing
playing
against an opponent.
defense.
But my point is, you're gonna have games where your marquee players maybe are a C plus, right? Or the O line tonight struggled, but I did see Edmonton throw a lot of different schemes. Like they got him with 3-man pressure, but they really tricked the Bombers offense. I saw them pretend that they were going to rush 5 or 6, drop guys. Like, it's Chris Jones. Like, he's a good he's a genius defensive coordinator. It
You
it
can't put
it, it
anything
makes
past them.
it burns a hole in my gut that Duron Carter got a pick on us, and it made me celebrate like no other when Schoen beat him like a rented mule, like an old geriatric man. But listen, my point is, to put it in a long-winded way, is like, good players won't have A-plus games all the time, but if your team can still win ugly, then that's something. And there were guys tonight, Darren, that stepped up. And the guy who I really think stepped up tonight was Mark freaking Leggio. I wrote his name down again and again and again. Every punt, 50 plus yards, or if it wasn't 50, I don't know the exact numbers, but man, he punted the pigskin off the ball. His kickoffs were great. No big returns allowed. He hit his field goal. He hit his point after. He outperformed Grey Cup MVP, quote unquote, right? Sergio Castillo. He
Right.
kicked the castle down, right? Castillo means castle in Spanish. He kicked it down. He kicked down those fortifications. Listen, and then now, did he sell that penalty? I don't think so. He was hit pretty hard by Mac Henry, but Leggio had a whale of a game. One more positive. I think we didn't take that many penalties, 30 yards in penalties versus over 80 for Edmonton. You have to play perfect football to beat the Bombers. You can't take stupid penalties, and that's part of football. And that one penalty against Leggio, the contacting the kicker, I mean, that's just a perfect example. The Stamps did it too. You can't do that against Winnipeg. So Leggio had a great game. Jefferson in that defense, that was if you could bottle bend but don't break defense, don't allow TDs, make a team go 0 for 2 in the red zone, and you're 1 for 2 in the red zone, right? Like, it was classic Winnipeg football. It just was tarnished and dented and ugly, like my 2008 Honda Civic, buddy, with dents in the back that I'm going to drive into the ground. That guy's going to eat up like 500,000 clicks, but doesn't cost you anything. Well, not yet.
What's the word for a car like that? A jalopy?
Jalopy. This was a jalopy win, buddy.
Big time. Yeah.
Listen.
Word of the week. Word of the week here on Bonfire Sports.
Jalopy. It was jalopious.
Well,
and one more thing. What?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Willie Jefferson is an absolute stud. He comes in wearing the Elks jersey, which is highly unusual. I don't know if fans love that. And then he goes out wearing their jersey because he knocked the ball not once, not twice. He knocked the ball down 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out, Edmonton. That defense, the time of possession, the fact that they were able to stay fairly sharp, Darren, like, I hope that Zach and that offense and Buck Pierce and all those guys, they buy them a good steak dinner, because my goodness, did they leave that defense hanging. And the last thing I want to say is Rose got
nice big hit.
Well, he had a nice big hit, but Taylor Cornelius, who's only a second-year starter and probably doesn't he doesn't seem like he sees the field that great. He played very well tonight. He picked on Rose on that field side. which frustrated me because there was a few second down conversions there. But
Well, nobody's throwing at Dietrich Nichols. His interception tonight came on a
Dietrich,
tipped ball that went right to him. Nobody is throwing at him.
no,
Nobody. I
no.
said to Dietrich Nichols this week, I looked him in the eye as he walked out the field. I said, Dietrich, when are they going to start throwing at you? And he just lit up. It was an awesome moment. But you joke about the truth, right? Like nobody's throwing at Dietrich Nichols. I'm glad he got an interception tonight because now he's starting to get a little bit of shine. He gets the halftime interview with Sarah Oleski on TSN, and good, because people need to know who Dietrich Nichols is. Nobody's throwing at him. Not too many are throwing at Demario Houston. Like I understand tonight, they were going to that side of the field because they were throwing at Kenny Lawler all day and all night. Like what did Lawler have today? I got to pull this number up.
Lawler, he had a good game.
He had a very good game.
Stud.
He was targeted 11 times. He had 7 catches. Caleb Hawley was targeted 11 times. He had 6 catches and one big hit to break one up. That would have been dangerous. That was a shot downfield. Winston Rose was able to lay the boom on. And good to see a player like Winston Rose lay a little bit of a boom. You don't see that too often. But Lawler, 98 yards receiving, had a log on 25. He had a couple big shots, but they were just trying to feed him the football. When you're paying a guy $300,000 a year, Edmonton is just going to keep feeding that beast. And, to no surprise, but, Winnipeg found a way, and there was a great comment. I think it was Scott Roger, rifle up, Scott. How you doing? And it was the Blue Bombers are the ultimate chameleon. They beat their opponent at their own game. They really changed their colors. You never know what they're going to do. Am I surprised the Blue Bombers offense was a little flat today? No, not at all. What did I say when I started the show with Chris Walby on GameDay Winnipeg this week? And I started the pregame show. The first words out of my mouth, Winnipeg goes into Edmonton to face Chris Jones and that vaunted Chris Jones defense. I know they're 2-4 going into the game. I know that they haven't won in over 1,000 days at Commonwealth, but you can't put anything past Chris Jones. You can't do it. I'm glad Winnipeg stuck with the run. I'm glad Brady had a better game. I'm glad they were able to get the win despite that, just because a win over a Chris Jones defense when your offense can't do anything, shows you why the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are good, why Zach Collaros doesn't care about numbers. He cares about W's, and he's now 24-1 as the Blue Bombers starter in meaningful games.
I love that, man.
That only loss coming against Toronto in the Big Smoke early last season. I think it was week 5. So, like Waiter says right here, 7-0 is 7-0.
And Darren, they have injuries, right? You take away the silver bullet in Greg Ellingson. You did such a great job of talking last time about Ellingson. The analysis was great. That Mr. Second down conversion, especially when that run game is sputtering. Ellingson is the reason with Zach Collaros that this team was having any semblance of an offense. You take him out. Yes, you still have your starting O-line, but you take Ellingson out, you take Dembski out, right? It's tough. And this run, so this run game, what I was looking for, because I looked at the stats pregame. Okay. Edmonton in the most important 4 categories that they track for run defense was last. Say
that again?
In the most important categories that they track for run defense, Edmonton was last. Last in average yards allowed, 139 per game. 6.0 per carry yard average against. 12 TDs against. Teams were rushing the most against them. And this was the game with Ellingson out that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers needed to run the freaking ball. And they needed to do it well. And am I happy that they won? Yes. Am I somewhat stoked that their run game improved a little bit, Darren? Yes. You saw better averages from Augustine and Brady Oliveira. I think they were around 5. Okay, good. But and then you had that one sort of sweep to McRae, but
Yeah.
This was the game where they needed to bring the run game to take the pressure off Zach, to take the pressure off all these injuries, and it didn't happen. And it was just it was frustrating as heck. And then Zach kept taking deep shots. Now, the deep shot won them the game, the 2 touchdowns. That touchdown to Schoen, we'll talk about it in a minute. I mean, that was beautiful, man. That
Mhm.
that was a thing of beauty. But I was so disappointed that they couldn't get the run game going. And I want to get your thoughts, because you and Walby kept talking about this zone scheme that they're sticking to, that maybe they don't need to. Maybe they should,
Well,
you
it's not
know,
about them sticking to it. That's the way the CFL is now. It's a run. It's a zone run scheme. That
is that
that's
right?
that's what they do. They like you either run a zone scheme and you find the hole, or you run a traditional run game scheme where we're running between the guard and the tackle. We're running between the guard and the center. We're running off tackle, like no matter what. Um, it's not something that they're sticking with and that they shouldn't, or something like that. Um, should they maybe change the types of runs they're doing? Maybe that's what they need to do. I honestly thought the run game looked a little bit different tonight. I'm far from an expert, but just what my eyes show me, it looked a little bit different, just like where they were putting Brady with the ball, where they were putting, Johnny only had 3 carries.
Yeah.
But they stuck with Brady Oliveira tonight, and to average 4.8 yards per carry on 13 carries, 62 yards. That's his largest number of the season for total rushing yardage in one game. I think that was a positive, especially when your quarterback is 44%. Like Bo Levi was
Yeah.
43% in
Yeah.
Winnipeg a week ago, and they still had a chance to win that game. If it wasn't for a dropped pass or a bumped up pass and intercepted by Demario Houston in the end zone at the end there, it could have easily been another overtime game, and you never know what's going to happen. Um, Carlton Agodosi tonight. I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about him, Zach. He was targeted once, didn't pull it in, and then he had an injury late there. Some people are concerned,
Yeah.
um, that it looked serious, that sort of thing. Yeah, you have players roll up on an ankle. It can
Yeah.
be bad. Can Winnipeg afford to be without Carlton Agodosi for 6 weeks? The easy answer is no. But the more in-depth look is that Nick Dembski should be back sooner rather than later. I
Yeah.
don't think Greg
Yeah.
Ellingson is a long-term thing. I expect him to be healthy next week. Just speculation. But that all said, if you can get Rashid Bailey going, you have a phenomenal rookie. And, I got to talk to people in some other markets about defensive players and that
Yes.
sort of thing. But Dalton Schoen is definitely in that conversation for the CFL's most outstanding
Oh,
rookie. 4
100%.
touchdowns in 7 games. This guy
Yeah.
never played in the NFL. This guy never played in the Arena League. This guy walked on to Kansas State,
Unbelievable, man.
and here he is in the pros. And like, he's just big game after big game, 146 yards, averaging 36.5 yards per catch. Obviously offset by that big 81, but man, oh man, like he looks like a polished veteran with years of chemistry and gel with Zach Collaros. It's amazing how
Yeah.
he's always there, finding an open spot and finding Zach Collaros's eyes on
Yeah.
broken plays.
Yeah.
That's what they tell receivers to do. Find the quarterback's eyes. If you can find space and then make eye contact with the quarterback, like, of course, you're going to put your arms up the rest, but make eye contact, find his eyes, and he'll find yours. And the way they're able to connect on those broken plays is something else. On a night where Zach couldn't get much going with the offense and his arm, those 4 catches on 9 targets were big. They definitely stretched the field and found ways to get it done. He almost had another one on a broken play
Yes.
where, similar like that that baseball slide and basket catch. Man, oh
Just
man.
about, just about.
Like,
Yeah. He is something else, man. Like like if you want, if you're an owner and you're looking for a GM, And by the way, the chat tonight is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
We hit
awesome.
100 so quickly that my head spun. You guys,
People are
you guys
waiting.
didn't
They're
see
waiting
it.
for After Dark. They wanted to see your freshly shaven face, Zach. You got a whole new look
Woo!
about you. People were afraid that you shaving your beard mid-season would put a
no.
jinx on your favorite team.
It's not a playoff beard, folks. It's a beard that was like 6 years old, and my dad, who I miss every day, and I hope that all of you had this amazing relationship with a parent, but he's gone, and I miss him, and he did say, "Get that scruff off your face."
Oh yeah.
Right before he died. Yeah, like there was no like beautiful last hug and kiss, and like
He was a father to the
dad.
end, hey?
Yeah, he was like, "Get that scruff off your face." And then my brother flew in, and my dad's last word to my brother was, "Did you use my Aeroplan points?" Like,
Are you
classic dad.
serious?
Love my dad. But he said,
That's
"Hey,
hilarious.
you should shave your beard." So I thought, hey, and my wife said, "I'd like you to shave your beard." So I mean, let's be honest. Let's stop dancing around, Zach. Like that's the real reason I shaved my beard, because my wife
Right.
told me to. My daughter said it'll be okay. And my son just doesn't even care about anything except
He's a little too young, don't you think?
I shaved my beard when my daughter was 2, and she cried so hard that she wouldn't look at me for 2 days. But
Daddy's little girl.
my son was like, "Get me breakfast or I'll kill you," right? And he literally could kill me. Anyway, I'm digressing now, Darren. Listen, like if you're an owner and you're looking for a GM, and Ted Goodvaya or Danny McManus walks in for their interview, Darren, all they have to say is Donkashone. Like, how you find a guy like that? Unbelievable. Now, I was talking to a guy who works in the CFL. He works in operations, and he said that what scouts do is they now have the technology to use some kind of database to say, okay, this is Buck's offense. He likes to throw to slot backs. They play against a lot of zone defense, like a lot of the defense in the CFL zone. So you can look in D3, D2, Division I football, and you can look for someone, okay, like who's someone who runs clean routes, and who cares where they're from, and plays well in that kind of scheme. And they can find these guys. They can do it, but to find Dalton Schoen, like this guy looks like he looks like a vet, and he talks like a vet. Like Hustler had him on this week.
Right.
Great young guy, like head's in the right place, and that's what. But we all know, like I'd say this till I'm blue in the face, right? No pun intended. Like Mike O'Shea's guys, like that's the locker room culture. They're looking for these guys, these character guys, and it doesn't matter where they come from. And I just think that's something to be proud of, even in an ugly win, man. Dalton Schoen, like shout out to you, man. Like love this kid. Love this kid. Although
Well,
not
the
sure
way
I love
Michael
the hair.
Shea, the I like his hair. I like the
You like his
salad.
flow?
You got to get a little flow going. That's old school receiver hair right there. The way Michael Shea talks about Dalton Schoen's leadership and professionalism, the way he showed up in camp in shape, the way he, holds himself accountable for mistakes, the way he conducts himself in the meeting rooms and in breaking down film and the rest. Great point by the Barflies here, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Barflies? Thanks for coming back. Didn't Schoen get a look in the NFL? He did not sign any contracts in the NFL. He probably got a look.
It's like me in the dating pool, right? Like,
I'm thinking teams are going to be going, well, maybe we should have given him a bit of a long and harder look. He looks like a serious player. He's an all-star in the CFL right now. If I had to vote, but I
do vote, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a voter here, folks.
Oh, look out. I don't want to
hear
it.
Just
I don't want to hear the criticism. But here's a comment I want to get to from Comet. The cumulative number of injuries to very good players is concerning. This is the Blue Bombers' current injured list. Okay. So you got Greg Ellingson. Again, I don't expect that to be too serious. Same with Jackson Jeffcoat. Ricky Walker's the healthy scratch. Brandon Alexander, I don't believe he is near a return yet, but he will play at some point this season. Jesse Briggs is back practicing. He is set to return soon. Michael Couture, probably going to be a week or two at least yet. Nick Dembski, not practicing yet, but I think in a week or two he may be. But don't expect him before that home game, I would guess, on August 11th, which, by the way, they're boosting the 50-50 by $100,000. It helps support great amateur football programs right here in Manitoba. So buy a 50-50 ticket at the next game. Noah Hallett, I'm really not sure. He has been hurt and unable to play or practice since day one this year. Brendan O'Leary-Orange, a new one on the 6th just last week, so not sure how long he will be. Dakota Prukop is set to return very soon, but that's a quarterback. The Bombers don't need another quarterback. Short yardage looks pretty good with Drew Brown, doesn't it? Drew Richmond, Kyrie Wilson, both likely to be quite a while yet as well. But you're right when you talk about the work Ted Gavaya, assistant general manager, and fellow assistant general manager Danny McManus do, as well as general manager Kyle Walters. You look at what the Blue Bombers are able to do to shore things up when they're in a pinch. They lose their starting center, a CFLPA All-Star, Chris Kolinkowski, free agent signing, been with a couple teams in the CFL. They find him. He stabilizes things on the offensive line. They lose a phenomenal player in Drew Desjardins to the New England Patriots. They have a first-round pick right there in Jeff Gray and Liam Dobson to fill things out. Cedric Wilcott's cut in training camp last year. He steps in for Jackson Jeffcoat. LB Mack III had a sack tonight. They continue that rotation.
Mack with the huge sack, right?
Real big sack.
That was awesome.
Took monster yards. They lose their dime backer. They find a rookie in Donald Rutledge Jr. who has the physical makeup of an NFL player, but just wasn't able to catch on in the NFL. They lose Kyrie Wilson, free agent signing, 7 games with the Edmonton Elks last year. There's Malik Clements. Demario Houston on the practice roster last year, rookie, steps in his second year and he takes the number 1 spot. Dietrich Nichols, another guy they found, and in my opinion is the best DB in the CFL today. Winston Rose was on his 4th CFL team when he signed in Winnipeg. BC did not re-sign him after he was tied for the league lead in interceptions with 5 just a few years ago. Winnipeg finds value. Just like Darvin Adams. Darvin Adams did not want to be, the Toronto Argonauts did not want to re-sign Darvin Adams.
Right.
Ted Gavaya was a player personnel guy and scout for the Toronto Argonauts. He comes to Winnipeg. He tells Kyle Walters immediately, you sign Darvin Adams. Boom. What do we see? Year after year, veteran presence, consistent production, and just leadership. It's really, really Malcolm Thompson, another one, played 2 games for the Hamilton Tiger Cats last year.
Yeah.
They lose their safety. Played a great game today. Has played a lot of great games this year.
He spooked Kenny Lawler tonight. I thought Kenny Lawler wasn't going to come back in the game. And I got to say for Kenny Lawler, just a quick thing, for such a wiry guy, boy, is he tough. Like he got hit hard today by a bunch of Bombers, especially Malcolm Thompson. He comes back in the game. Good for him. But Malcolm Thompson has played great. Did the Bombers give up any big plays tonight? Now, that was the big concern that you were talking about last week in Calgary. I don't recall them giving up any huge plays. Maybe there was one big pass.
Lawler had a chunk, right? Lawler had a few nice
right?
chunks, right? He averaged 14 yards per catch, and his long was only 25. So that's a legit average of 14 yards a catch. Caleb Hawley had a catch for 19. Emmanuel Arsenault had that one big catch. Remember, they just couldn't take him down. He had one for 22 yards. Mike Jones, the receiver, a Canadian, he had one for 18 yards. Malik Irons had a catch for 11 yards. Osikusi had one for 9. As far as the run game, Taylor Cornelius broke one for 12 yards. Malik Irons had a run for 10 yards, but he only had 20 yards on the day, averaging 5 yards a carry, but they just couldn't get the run game going. Cornelius threw the ball 42 times tonight, completed 25 passes for 270 yards, no touchdowns, through the interception. he played quite well. The knock on Taylor Cornelius, especially last season, Zach, was that he threw late game interceptions every time he strapped on the helmet. It was uncanny. And then I went and did some digging during his time in the XFL.
Yep.
Interception after interception to cap games and to lose games. I think the only win his team had when he was in the XFL was a game where they ran for like 180 yards and barely threw the football. He has an absolute rocket launcher of an arm. He's smart. He's big. He's capable.
Yeah.
He has all the tools, but can he avoid the big mistake? Didn't make it tonight,
Nope.
but it really wasn't a football game that they were in. I think Edmonton's better than a 2-4 football team.
I do too. I saw
they
someone
would be
early
leading
on
the West. They'd be leading the East right now. Right? That's what you saw. I'm
That's
thinking.
right.
Yeah.
I saw someone on the chat, and Terrell Hintz. I want to get your comment about Les Moreau in a minute.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that, Darren, because I think it's a great take on Les Moreau. But yeah, I mean, they're not a bad team. They controlled time of possession. Their offense was really clicking against a great Bomber defense, albeit a defense that classically allows quite a few yards. They didn't get any touchdowns, right? So that's really what matters. But I thought the play calling was pretty good, and they had some good momentum, and they strung some drives together. At one point, I think I wrote down that they had 12 first downs and then maybe got up to 16 or 17 first downs to Winnipeg's 4. Like they were really controlling the game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Cornelius had a really good game, to be honest with you. I thought his accuracy was good. I thought he was reading the defense. He was reading the blitz. If he continues to improve, he could be a bona fide starter, and that's good for Edmonton. Nobody wants to see the Elks a tire fire. The one thing I wanted to say was, I believe it was Terrell Hintz about Les Moreau, and he had an unbelievable sack. And I got up cheering. That was in the second quarter. I think it might have been the third sack of the game. And that's just awesome. Like I think Winnipeg really has the gold standard of global players. And to have a guy from Japan, like that's just so cool. And he's on the Grey Cup. He's won the Grey Cup, I think, twice now with us. It was great, man. That was awesome to see. And the other thing about Cornelius, the one pick he had, I mean, Malik Clements takes a bite out of the football, and that was a good joke. Come on, the dentist. He takes a little bite out of the football, he swats it down, and then your boy Nichols gets it. So I thought, and the other thing I liked, and who was the color analyst tonight? Was it Dwayne Ford?
It was Dwayne Ford.
Ford and Dustin Nielsen, great team, by the way.
Awesome. Absolutely. Dwayne's been doing a great job for years.
Yeah,
Dusty is newer to this, but he is
good.
not new to football play-by-play. I worked with him for Canada West television, covering the Bisons and the Rams and the Huskies and the Bears and the Dinos and the T-Birds and all of Canada West football. He, in my opinion, is the best play-by-play man in Canada right now.
Is that right?
On TV. Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's talking tonight about a corn maze. And he just throws in a little, I break out of the house at nighttime and I go try to figure it out. And Dwayne says something like, "Oh, you bring a flashlight or you bring something like, and he's like, "No, I bring a chainsaw and I get my way out of there." Like to have fun like that, and then also be a phenomenal descriptor of the game. Big hat tip to my man Dustin Nielsen, who tomorrow morning will be. Well, wait, it's Friday. Never mind. But he does Thursday night games, and then he flies back to Edmonton, and he's on TSN radio in the morning. He
does a bunch of podcasts. He does doesn't he do the Lock Shop with our boy
Lock Shop
Hustler?
With Hustler?
Yeah. He's a nice. I met him at the Grey Cup.
Great dude.
Not because I had any special privileges. I just happened to see him where he was being picked up by his cab, and I went up to super nice guy, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy who's burned the candle at both ends on a game like that. Doesn't have to be nice to some random dude like me. But anyway, someone told me to stick
That's the
to my
CFL
day.
though, man. That's the
It is the
CFL.
CFL. Someone on the chat said, stick to your day job, Zach. No more dad jokes. But Malik Clements did take a good chomp out of that ball. A hat tip to Malik Clements, talking about hat tips.
Well,
But
Jeff
I love.
Jeff has something to say for you here.
Yeah,
Starting to feel
Jeff.
weirded out by beardless Zach.
Okay, that's fine, Jeff. I'm not married to you, so you could be weirded out. It's. I'm just kidding, Jeff. I love you, man. You bring the zest to this chat. You always have great things to say. Just funny dude. Lots of personality. I love this guy. Yeah, I'm weirded out by myself, but hey, that's not new. But what I liked what Dwayne Ford said that and I don't know if this is coached or just natural, that Cornelius early in the game, the way he kind of would freeze the defense when he was taking off to run. So he'd kind of run laterally, and then the defense would kind of be frozen because they wouldn't know if he was going to pass the ball. And he freezes the defense when he's running laterally, and then he takes off. And I thought, a guy like that who can run and run smartly is a dangerous weapon. We know that in the CFL, and he's 6'5". The number of times Edmonton on 2nd and 2, Darren, and not a lot of teams do this. They typically run in shotgun on 2nd and 2 even, but he just basically falls forward. Except I thought the turning point in the game was this, and I got to see my notes here. Yeah, here it is. Can I say this is the turning? I'm not going to call it the TSN turning point because nah, we don't do that here.
Yep.
The time in the game where the Bonfire, I don't know, plumed up or something. I don't know, but
raged.
So 3 or 4 times they were on 2nd and 2, and Taylor Cornelius gets a first down on short yardage. Okay. We're getting into the end of the third quarter. Edmonton is driving. They get another 2nd and 2 situation. And instead of him just going for it on short yardage in a wedge package, the Bonfire moment of truth, one bird, nice. A Bonfire lighted up moment, whatever it was, he throws the ball. He tries to throw it, and it got batted down by Willie Jefferson, I believe. And I thought, wow, that's... So they just, you stick to what gets you there. You keep it simple, man. It's working. He threw it, and then that's when Sergio Castillo missed that field goal. So they're down, I believe, 17-9. So it's a 1-score game. They missed that critical short yardage play on 2nd and 2. He goes and throws the ball, and when you're a struggling team like the Elks and you haven't won at home in 3 years or whatever it is,
2
and
seasons.
you've got a 6'5" guy, and they've done it 3 or 4 times in a row to a gassed defense, just keep doing what you're doing. Sergio Castillo misses it. Then it's 17-10, and that's as close as they got, Darren. And that's where I think, just like last week when Dickinson went for it on 3rd and 2, and the guys hit each other, and then he had Tommy Stevens throw the ball on 2nd down when you have Kadeem Carey. Like, that's another thing where your OC is out thinking himself. And I thought at that moment, that might be a big turning point here because they are beating themselves, and that is just something the Bombers don't do. So that's all I got to say on that.
Big shout out to Jeff, who, according to Waiters in the live chat, came up with the Bonfire burning point instead of the turning point. I like that. Just getting a tweet here from Terrell Hintz. He says, Darren, that is a terrible shirt. Okay, if you say so.
He tweeted that to you right now?
He did, and then he complimented the show and everything else. Terrell, I've met you. I've met Terrell before, and we've had some good talks about football. Very passionate.
He's big
Blue
on
Bombers
Twitter.
fan.
Yeah, I follow him.
He is. Yep. But I wanted to get into the Bonfire hotline. There it is, folks. 816-TIPS, 816-8477. Call, text, standard rates apply, just like when you text your mama, as I always say. Okay, so I wanted to get into some of them here because really they were busy tonight. I like this one. Don't have a name. Oh, Waiters. It is from Waiters. He said
The
he
Waiters?
yeah. Since Bonfire started doing postgame shows, the Bombers are 7-0. Just saying, says Waiters.
Oh, yes.
That is
Waiters
true.
dropping the truth bombs.
This is an interesting one. Who is this from? Sometimes I got to scroll back. Oh, yeah. So this is from Robert, I believe, comment. Here's a question to ponder, says Robert. When Stanley Bryant's career ends, will he surpass Chris Walby as the GOAT Blue Bombers left tackle? Both accomplished, both multiple cup winners. Can there be a tie? I talked to Stanley about this year. And I don't know if I've talked to Walby about it, but now Walby played right tackle, if I'm not mistaken. But the way I see it is Chris Walby's the greatest offensive lineman to ever play in the CFL, and you'll never change my mind. But I think it's fair to say Stanley Bryant could be the best American offensive lineman to ever play in the CFL. And I don't know if you could change my mind about that either. Either way, fun conversation to have about this storied franchise and so much talent. Love the live chat tonight. Everybody is fired up. And as they should be. The Bombers find a way to win 24-10 tonight. Zach, you mentioned the first downs and the running prowess of Taylor Cornelius. 23 first downs for the Edmonton Elks tonight. Winnipeg just had 12. But of those 23, 11 rushing, 11 passing, and 1 by penalty. So as many, like Cornelius puts up 270 yards passing and then 59 yards rushing because he's the one picking up those first downs. That's really something, just how often they're going to him in those short yardage situations. I don't even know if they had let me check this. This was super weird. The backup to Taylor Cornelius tonight on the depth chart was Mike Beaudry, who is a Canadian quarterback out of Regina. He went to the University of Ohio. He was cut earlier this year from the practice roster, and he came back just this week, and he was the backup to Taylor Cornelius. They have serious problems in Edmonton with their personnel.
Yeah.
Like you talk about Winnipeg's injured list, like Coney Ely, Trey Ford, Kai Loxley, Charles Nelson, Darrell Walker. That's just their one game. What's confusing to me is, never mind. Jake Serezna is on the 6th game. Gavin Cobb.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Grimes.
Grimes is a big loss.
Winnipegger Jordan Reeves, who can kind of play everywhere. James Wilder. You asked me about this, Zach. James Wilder's been on the 6th game for a really, really long time. I actually went to this website right here, sia.com/bonfire. I put a couple bucks down on Kadeem Carey to outrush James Wilder Jr. this year. Wilder's since been hurt, so that prop is no longer available, but I'm going to cash in on that one, no doubt about it.
Yes, I signed up today too, folks. sia.com/bonfire. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sign up.
Yeah, it is entertainment, man. Easy. And you get a nice little bonus too.
You get a bonus, and it helps us deliver this to you scot-free, my friends.
Scot-free.
And we are having a freaking blast, man. Like, come on, we're 7-0.
Yes,
1962, we were 7-0, and we went to win the Grey Cup. Although I hope that's where the similarities end, because then we had that drought till '84. But anyway. Can I just say I just love the people in the chat. I mean, you guys are so much fun. I mean, you make it. This is why Darren wanted to do this live on YouTube. It's why I wanted to join him. It just makes it like so much fun for us to see these comments and questions and some ribbing here and there. I see Sard from Morning Big Blue, Robert Sutton, O'Shea and Grant in the same mode. Consistent wins and cups. That's good. Now, Duron Carter. I saw someone say Duron Carter returning kicks was
and that he was the actual,
what was like he's slow
backup quarterback, and
I would have been faster than him even after my spin class. I was exhausted. I was cramping up. I think I would have done a better job.
Yeah,
I think so.
You gotta stay hydrated, man.
Now, did Carlton Agodosi break an ankle, Darren?
I'm
I hope not.
nobody like what you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night and we're all doctors, right? I- like I don't want to speculate,
It
but
looked like it. I'm afraid of that.
I've seen scarier things, maybe I should just leave it at that because we do not know. The Blue Bombers are off for a couple days. They will have a closed practice at some point this week. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think before their game on Friday in Calgary, they'll travel on Thursday. We'll see. We'll see. I think Greg Ellingson will be back. So 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
When
You
when
don't
you
think
get
it's
the
a long
CFL's
term? You don't think the
well,
hip
again,
is long
I don't
term?
want to speculate. I don't want to speculate, but didn't look that bad to me. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. But other people disagree. Other people said that it looked really bad. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We're not
Yeah.
going to get too much of a firm update from head coach Mike O'Shea anyway, right? So
Well, and it's interesting. Someone in the chat said they were surprised. McCrae got one carry. Agodosi, I think he had one ball thrown his way. Tavares Harrison, I don't even think he was on the field. I think Wolotarski maybe had one or two catches. I mean, they really weren't spreading the ball around much. And but I
Wolodarski had
do
one catch.
I do think that some of that was Chris Jones, like masterful scheming, like the way he stunts the guys and twists and I'm just throwing those words out there. I think I know what they mean, but maybe I really don't. But I know like the D line, they do different things. Like they they go this way, then they go that way, and they run, whatever. You know what I mean? They switch spots
Yeah.
and stuff. I think they really fooled the Bombers O line, and you saw Hardrick get beat pretty badly on a sack to Colares, sorry, but that. It reminds me, frankly, last year when the Bombers struggled against the Tire Fire Elks when Noel Thorpe was the DC. And, another good DC. And now what? He's back with Montreal. So that's interesting. A guy who I think is a very good DC, although he never made it to the head coaching ranks. But I think Zach's escapability saved. There was one where he was again going down there, and you saw that one where he got a critical first down. I think it was was it to Wally or was it to Schoen? That was an incredible play.
Wally did not have Drew Wolotarski did not have a first down today. I don't believe.
Okay.
No. It was a 5-yard catch that he had, so I don't think so. Dalton Schoen had 3 second down conversions.
So it must have been Schoen.
55 yak yards, like 55 of his 146. So, like easily a third, more than a third of his yards came after the catch. I love watching him play. Like, man, it's almost like, and then they mentioned this on the broadcast too, like what a great opportunity Dalton Schoen has to learn from Greg Ellingson, who has been on a variety of teams now in the CFL, who like Hamilton, Ottawa, Edmonton, now Winnipeg. So different systems, different quarterbacks. He's 33 years old, soon to be 34, I believe, and playing at the level he is, leading the league in receptions and yards. And Dalton Schoen comes in as a pro, smart, doing things the right way as a rookie, straight out of college and the rest. And there's Greg Ellingson to show him how to do it. It's a perfect storm. And Mike O'Shea talks about that all the time, right?
Yeah.
He lets the locker room do its thing. Adam Bighill taught Kyrie Wilson, and Kyrie Wilson teaches Malik Clements, and Jesse Briggs teaches Malik Clements, and around they go, So good on them. What's funny?
Apparently, I've got to adjust my camera because my shirt seems like it's saying a swear word here. It's back.
I noticed that before too.
BACK, folks. Come on, keep it clean, just like the Bombers and their penalties.
Here, I'll get the there. Now we can see it back to back.
So someone here brought up Bailey. Is he struggling, Darren? Is he just not getting open, or are they just not targeting him? Someone who works for the team told me that Zach likes throwing the slot backs for whatever reason. But I shouldn't say someone who were like, I'm not saying that to pump my, like I sound kind of like a dork when I say that. It's just to legitimize
They
that
walk
I
among us.
happen to know someone, and I pick their brain because I'm interested
Well, like,
in.
are they in football operations, or are they just a staff member?
Oh,
Like,
operations.
you got a source?
I got a source. I got a source. But anyway, he likes throwing the slot backs. But is Bailey not getting open? Is it the fact that he's playing wide receiver and that doesn't? I mean, aside from Agodosi last week, doesn't get a whole lot of looks. Like, what do you think? Because the production really is shockingly not there. This guy was supposed to be maybe our number one receiver.
Right. He was. There's a lot of theories out there.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
Is it where they're lining him up? Is it lack of targets? Is it that he's not getting open? Going into tonight, there was just a lot of other receivers getting things done for Winnipeg, right? Coming into the season, or like, the first few weeks of the season, it was Schoen, it was Ellingson, it was Nick Dembski. So there wasn't a lot more there. Then Bailey goes down, or pardon me, Dembski goes down, in comes Brendan O'Leary-Orange. He goes down, in comes Agodosi. Agodosi pulls in 2 touchdowns. Ellingson continues to have these monster games. Now Dalton Schoen's having these monster games. Rasheed Bailey was asked about this week, and I touched on this earlier in the show. Where's the production? What's up with the slow start? And he just said it's coming. None of these guys care about the numbers. They care about the wins.
And they really don't, Darren. Like, they're honest when they say that, aren't they? Like, they're genuine. Like, this isn't about me.
Yep. They just want another ring. They want another, they want to have a cold one after a win. They don't want to have a lukewarm one after a loss. Doesn't matter how icy it is. It tastes lukewarm after a loss.
But how special, right? But then,
it always tastes better after lukewarm.
But how special is that? Like, in your experience, you've been in this business for a long time. Have you ever seen it? Hey, you're only a few years older than me. I won't say how many, but you look younger today. You're wearing
I'm
like
wearing my hat backwards.
Polka dot shirt,
an ugly shirt and a hat backwards. Here.
No, it's not an ugly shirt. That was BS. Whoever said that. I'd wear that shirt, although I'm not. That's not saying much. If I would wear the shirt, I get all my clothes from the Bomber store or Costco,
right?
And my wife buys all my clothes from a Costco, I should say. But anyway, like, have you ever been around a team like that? That like every single guy, legit, like genuinely, Darren says this is all about the team. I don't care about my numbers.
Well, no, I haven't. Not like this.
It's crazy.
I do remember being around the 2012 Gold Eyes. I think it was 2012.
Oh, yeah.
They had an awesome team. And was that the back-to-back year? I can't remember. It's like 10 years ago, right? My long-term memory is poor. But I covered the Gold Eyes for 6 seasons for the Metro, Winnipeg, the Green Metro, the old, free papers that they had. I was their sports guy, filled in on news sometimes, but I remember being around that team. Their ace pitcher was Ace Walker. They had some great infielders, some big bats, very talented outfield, deep rotation, and really, really strong relief pitching. And then, of course, the great work that Rick Forney always does. And like, just how awesome it is to go to the ball games in the summer in Winnipeg. It's like there's nothing like it. That
great food there too, apparently.
Yeah, great food, craft beer. Go check it out. But I remember that team being a lot like that. They're just like, hey, if our bats are not popping one game or in one series, then the defense is going to make up for it, or our base running will make up for it. They were only worried about W's. The relief pitchers weren't worried about saves. They were worried about getting wins. They were worried about getting the starter the win. The starters were worried about pitching long enough to take it easy on the bullpen. And it was all about, pulling together. But no, I haven't seen a team like this in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I started covering this team in 2011. I saw that Grey Cup run. I saw that atrocious second half of the season where they could barely get a win. I remember wearing dress shoes to that East final against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton somehow beat Montreal. They come to Winnipeg. Winnipeg just absolutely crushes them in what was supposed to be the final game at Canada
Dress
Stadium.
shoes?
I wore dress shoes on that cold ass
Have your
day.
feet, have you lost any toes, buddy?
I probably could have that day. But
Jeez.
I don't know. I was fresh out of college. I'm like, oh, I gotta, it's the West Final or the East Final. I gotta wear some dress shoes, right?
It's cold.
Anyway,
Oh.
I've seen a lot of futility in
Yeah.
football. I've talked to a lot of players on bad teams and coaches and coordinators on bad teams. It's been really something to watch Winnipeg go from 3 wins in 2013 and futility and poor talent and poor drafting and poor GM work to where they are today, and watching that progression, trading Buck Pierce to the BC Lions for a Canadian receiver. And name's escaping me, but they traded for a Canadian receiver because they knew we need to bolster our Canadian talent. It's more important than an aging quarterback. And, all due respect to Buck, I consider him almost a friend with, how gracious he's been in dealing with me and the media for all these years as a player and as a coach.
Good guy.
But,
right?
but it was time, and they decided to trade him. That started it all. It was late that year. Kyle Walters was the interim GM. I remember sitting in the freshly built press box at IG Field and a press release coming out after a game. And I'm looking around like, they just traded Buck Pierce. Like the press release was titled too, Bombers acquire. I can't remember the player's name.
I can't remember his name either, but he was actually played pretty well. Yeah, Greg Liverpool will get it for us, I bet.
Yeah, he probably will.
And yes, Denis. I'm not sure if that's how I pronounce your name. I do have young children, and I do look tired. I always, it's a genetic thing with these bags. Like I could have an 8-9 hours sleep, I would still have bags. I just have baggage, man. Akeem Foster, C. Walker, well done. Boom, I remember Akeem Foster. He's from Toronto, I think, like the Toronto area. Grew up,
and he was a big bodied receiver. And I remember the press release when they traded Buck was Blue Bombers acquire Akeem Foster.
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh, okay, and like third paragraph, it's in exchange the Blue Bombers send Buck Pierce and a draft pick or whatever it was. But man, oh man, like
we've seen some garbage, right?
Seen some serious garbage. I remember talking to like Chad Simpson, the former Indianapolis Colts running back, in the locker room after losses, and talking to Glenn January and the offensive line when it was really, really bad. Talking to players on the defense when it was really bad. Talking to Stanley Bryant when he was, signed a big free agent deal to come from the Grey Cup champion Calgary Stampeders to Winnipeg. When the Blue Bombers traded for Pat Neufeld, a Saskatchewan native son from a team that went on to win the Grey Cup later that year, the Blue Bombers traded an all-star defensive end for Pat Neufeld. And everyone's like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Pat Neufeld's always hurt and this and that. Yeah, okay. He struggled through injuries. Welcome to pro football. The guy's an all-star Canadian and can play tackle in a pinch. That was a huge trade for Winnipeg. Signing Stanley Bryant, obviously a huge acquisition.
Yep.
Talking to those guys in the 3 and 5 and 7 win seasons to see where they are today, lifting the cup in November or in December. To answer your question, no, I have never seen a team like this. It's something to behold.
And C. Walker is bringing this up right at the top here, Darren. I was gonna talk about it as well. I remember Buck comes back that year, right? And BC absolutely took it to us. Like they took us to the woodshed. I think Biggie had like a pick 6 in the first 5 minutes or something, and people were actually cheering for Buck Pierce that game. I think it. I don't remember if it was it 2013, I think. That was the 3 and 15 year when they traded Buck. It was just, I think that was the year that our friend Don Crookshank, sign guy who's here, wore a bag on his head. Was that you, or was that Gold member? One of our super fans wore a bag on his head. Anyway, Oh, Dante Marsh had a pick six. Good memory, Waiters. Waiters bringing it.
Dante Marsh. Well, and then who was the BC Lion defensive back they brought in?
Corey Banks,
Corey
2014.
Banks.
He was supposed to be a
and
big. Wait, he never showed up or something.
well, he didn't, between the ears, he didn't show up. Like, he just had no buy-in, no effort.
Yeah.
He expected to just show up and be the leader of the defense. And, well, O'Shea wasn't having it, right? Like,
No,
you
good
can't
for
just
O'Shea.
show up and be like, look at my resume, give me the starting job. He probably was on the back three of the back nine of his career. The old Wally Buono adage of, cutting ties with a player, when their best days are behind them. But either way, Waka Waka missed the Bucks barbecue chips at Co-op. Me too. Remember Buck and Danny and Buck's
Danny
barbecue?
and Buck's whole hog. Yeah, sure.
I think they still sell that barbecue sauce. I hope it's got
Do
a good
they?
expiry date on it. Yeah, I think they do. Yeah.
The other thing, I know we're going back in time here. Oh, Jade Etienne.
2 career touchdowns happened in the same game. We're having fun
against Calgary. I remember that game. We were up 14-6, and he had 2 identical touchdowns from who was it? Who was in Justin Goltz or something? I don't know.
It's almost like you want to erase that from your memory, right? Like keep your journal, keep your diary now while the Bombers are finding ways to win despite having really bad outings or pretty bad outings. This is a real good football team. And
it is
24-1 going back to October 2019.
It's crazy, man. They don't lose at home. They're 24. They're 7-0 this year. They win despite the injuries, despite Zach Collaros maybe plays a a C+ game. Like at one point, Darren, in this game tonight, if we get back to this game, it was 31-30 to 10 minutes of time of possession. And I wrote on my beautiful chart that Dennis likes, what the F? Like, WTF? What is going on? Like, are you kidding me? But they win? Unbelievable. I mean, they didn't take many penalties. They took advantage of opportunities. They're 1 for 2 in the red zone. Legio played a hell of a game. Guys way down deep in the depth chart, man, came to play, right? Wilcots, LB Mack, Clemens, right? Like,
Malcolm Thompson.
It wasn't pretty. Malcolm Thompson.
When they need him to make a play, he makes a play. He's a good safety.
Yeah, man.
And there are times out there where fans will tweet me or text the hotline, 816-TIPS, hit it up, 816-8477. We're going to get to a couple in just a minute. They'll text me and be like, where was Malcolm Thompson on that play? Well, the safety doesn't sit at the back of the defense with everything in front of him all the time. You saw it at halftime when they were, or during the game when they were breaking down, like Adam Bighill line way back, and then he'll blitz. They do all different types of misdirection and cloak and dagger, subterfuge, however you want to describe it. They do all those things. So deep passes where you don't see Malcolm Thompson in the vicinity, it doesn't mean he missed his assignment necessarily.
No, and go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, I just saw like someone's blah, 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 talking over each other. Maybe if we both talk at the same time, we'll sound really smart. But I just saw someone from Morning Big Blue sent me a great forum, by the way. I know Sard is a part of it. They sent me a video on O-line technique and O-line blocking because I was interested. But what they said was, most good quarterbacks, if they know where the defenders, if they know where the DBs are going to be all the time, unless they disguise it, they're going to complete most balls on you. So I'm just to back you up, right? Like that you need, you can't have Malcolm Thompson playing a deep safety all the time. He's got to disguise looks. And in fact, when he did that, you remember that BC game, that's when Mr. Kid Canada threw a pick, because I think he was a little bit fooled, right? You had Rutledge playing at safety. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. You were going to say something about our friend Pumper.
Yeah, Pumper is saying, I just had it here. Here it is. Are the Blue Bombers veining in on some receivers? I'm not sure what he means there, but there's only one on the practice roster. Yeah, it's Luke McMillan of the Winnipeg Rifles, a local product and just a heck of a football player. Great young man. Hashtag rifle up. Looking forward to the rifle season. But Tavares Harrison activated today, right? So he is essentially that practice roster receiver. Janarian Grant is there. Again, I don't think it's a serious injury to Greg Ellingson. So rest more than anything, I think,
Yeah.
this past week. He spoke to media, and I get it. It's a good story. He was a CFL top performer with, 11 for 152 and 7 second down conversions.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I just don't expect it to be too long. We'll have to see if the Agodosi injury is serious and if that brings up a need for the Blue Bombers to find another receiver. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Carol L just joined. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. Carol L. Now, who is Carol L? Is that Lefty Carol? I don't know. I don't know if you'd be up. Would it be Lefty Carol who did the biking, the cycle, the spin cycle today? No way.
She cuts everyone's hair too, I think.
She cuts my hair. Yeah, I'm seeing her next week.
Yeah,
great person. Her and Lefty Bart too.
Looks like you should see her next week.
Hey, Carol. Yeah, go check out Cycle. This is a free promo. They're on Stradbrook. And I had one of the best workouts of my life. If you're competitive like me, you can see all the other numbers on there. You want to catch up to people. And Carol is so supportive. Like and it's like the Bombers, right? Yes, you have great schemes and talent, but she's just like Mike O'Shea. She motivates. She motivated me. I was dogging it at one point, and Carol was like, "Come on, Zach, I love your smile." And I was like, "Okay, let's go." Check out Cycle, man. Maybe they should be the official spin studio of Bonfire Sports. You and me will go.
Yeah.
I told Carol today, today was a game day spin session. I said, man, they're silly if they don't do that every game day with you, Carol. It was great. They had people with Bomber shirts, jerseys. Christina Big Hill was there, a relative of our good friend, the bowling ball man, the man from New Brunswick, Jake Thomas. I call him bowling ball man because that's his celebration when he gets a sack. Fat boy.
Okay.
She was there. Very friendly, great service. They came. If you've never done spin, they come and show you how to do it. They saw me and they said, "Okay, Zach, this is what all the dials do." Anyway, Carol was awesome. But yeah. The other thing I want to say, Darren, is the Bombers dogged it in the first half. It's, except for that huge pass to Schoen. Yeah, they got that turnover off the interception, and they threw a touchdown pass to Bailey. No, Schoen was in the second half. What am I saying? Was he? I'm losing my mind. Was
Schoen in the second half?
No, the big 81-yard catch. Was that the first half?
That was the first half.
Sorry. So in the first half, I believe they had 9 minutes and 20 seconds of possession. That fourth quarter drive you were talking about, that you once called maybe something like a clock gobbling drive, 9:27, buddy.
I didn't say it.
Nope. 9:27. So they showed up when they had to show up, right? Are they playing down to their opponents? I don't think so. I just think they find different ways to win, man. And oh man,
this is part of it too. And I got a text on the hotline from Mark Knight. He says, my younger brother played with Mike O'Shea back in the 90s and is still a good friend of his. He told me that Mike is one of the smartest guys he has ever known. I've heard that from a lot of people. When Mike O'Shea took over here in Winnipeg, it wasn't about, okay, we got to run this type of defensive system and special teams is what we're going to focus on. And, we've got to find talent at these positions and we got to play, we're going to be hard nosed and we're going to practice like this and we're going to train like this. This is what training camp's going to be like. And, that all happened, but it was about culture.
Yeah.
It took time And do you remember when Mike O'Shea was on the hot seat? Like I was just talking to somebody about this like a
Oh
week ago.
yeah. Yeah.
Remember when Mike O'Shea was on the hot seat and it was just like, oh man, it's year 3 and they're still kind of meddling.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding. It takes time. So the Paul Appolice talk, the Kari Jones talk, even I wouldn't say Craig Dickinson in Saskatchewan, but some of those teams that struggle. Look what the Hamilton Tiger Cats are going through right now.
Yeah.
They could easily just turn it on and roar, pardon the pun. The Tiger Cats could just roar through.
I will not pardon that pun because you meant it, my friend.
I didn't. Oh man, it's getting spicy here on game day after.
I'm gonna do a cycle. I'm gonna do a spin. It's almost like now my brain's in the spin cycle, Carol. I agree with this. Kahari getting fired. That has a stink on it to me. Like I know there were discipline issues, but this guy was what 1-3 when he got fired. He could have been 2-2 if Cote hits that kick. I mean, But anyway, back to your point. It's all culture and Michael Lombardi,
here's sorry to interrupt. Here's a guy that worked in the Blue Bombers organization with Mike O'Shea as head coach. Big time culture for O'Shea. Craig Smith, long time CFL player personnel man and scout.
Oh, nice.
Thanks for joining us as always, Craig. Always appreciate you.
Welcome.
I think you're out in Saskatchewan, if I'm not mistaken. You'll hit up the live chat and let us know. But thanks for watching. Appreciate you joining us. You were saying, pardon me.
But just the Michael Lombardi and I want to. It was called Gridiron Genius. That's good. Yeah. This is getting better and better. I think this needs to be a 2-hour show. My family's at the lake. I mean, I have no reason to stop doing this. Gridiron Genius, Michael Lombardi, and he has a GM Shuffle podcast now, and he worked for NFL Network. He worked for Bill Belichick in Cleveland and New England. And the basically, if you don't want to read the whole book of Gridiron Genius, it's he talks about why New England was so successful. And you can have your opinions about Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, right? They're not perfect people. However, he said if you have an A+ quarterback and you have the culture and they're all aligned, owner. Now we don't have an owner, but let's say Wade Miller, Kyle Walters, Mike O'Shea, and then you get a Zach Collaros. If that's all aligned and you don't have discipline issues, you don't take stupid penalties, you don't have me first guys, and you have enough talent, that's why this is good. Friesen, that's why they're the flagship organization, and it's culture. And if you think about your own workplace or your family, culture is what you do every single minute of the day. It's your work habits, right? I remember Nick Taylor saying before he got to Winnipeg, it was Anthony Gator who picked him up, and he said it was his first day for practice.
Yep.
And he thought Nick Taylor was going to pick him up after breakfast. Picks him up at 5 a.m. Oh, no, I pick you up at 5 a.m., buddy. This is when we start doing film study. Like, this is when these guys start and they love it. It's not like, oh, I got to drag my butt out of bed to do film. Like, these guys love foot. Like, well, shit, I'll stop here because I see you had a quote. You had a point there. Yep. But, like, when you have guys that buy in FIFO and they love football, it means that they love grinding. And Mike O'Shea always talks about he loves grinding. These guys love getting that extra little edge on film study. And that's what separates this team from others. That's why, okay, you might say, hey, listen, Zach, the Bombers have won 7 in a row. They're 7-0, but they've won some squeakers. Well, that's why you win squeakers. It's because you've talked about it. It's those 4 or 5 plays in the game that go one way or the other. And if you've got more than they do, you win the game. And that's from loving football. It's not just a cliche that Mike O'Shea throws out there. These guys love it. They get in early and they love film study like I love chocolate, right? Like they love it, and they're so dialed in, and they're 100% committed, and they don't care who gets the laurels at the end of the game, Darren. It doesn't matter if you got 2 yards. It doesn't matter if Rashid Bailey wasn't on the stat sheet, but he blocked like a fiend, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter because all they want to do is win. And if everybody's pointed in the same direction,
Yes.
they're going to go in that direction, man. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, even when it's ugly at times during a game like tonight.
Well, an interesting part of that, because you're bang on. I completely agree. We've seen this now in whatever year 7, whatever it is of Mike O'Shea. Part of that is also, excuse me, how they govern the locker room. The coaches do not govern the locker room. Mike O'Shea treats his players like grown-ass men. He does not treat them like football players. Like so often coaches will say, these are my troops and they're the field general, right? That's the cliche used for coaches, the field general, or the quarterback is the field general, right? Sometimes the coach is called that too. Mike O'Shea sets standards. This is what we need to do every day. He allows his leadership in the locker room to govern it. And I am sure that a 23-year-old or a 33-year-old is more accountable to their teammate than they are to somebody they only see at practice, right? You know, Adam Big Hill, Brandon Alexander, Willie Jefferson, it was Andrew Harris, it's Zach Collaros. It's those leaders on the offensive line and in the receiving core. They hold each other to account. So Mike O'Shea doesn't have to go into the locker room and yell at everybody.
Yeah.
He said that just the other day on his show. He said, I don't see that it works.
It doesn't. It works
people
once.
Used to ask,
and then they tune it
why
out.
are you yelling
right?
more?
Have you ever had a classroom teacher that yelled all the time? Or a parent, you just tune it out because it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Which raises the big question. And here we are 80 minutes into our post-game show. And this is the biggest question there is. Steve Smith, who's watching live on Facebook. What's going on, Steve? Mike O'Shea needs to get signed right now. Let's wrap the show, Zach, with thoughts on Mike O'Shea being in what is often referred to, and I don't think it's the case now.
Lame duck.
The lame duck season, right? The lame duck coach in the final year of their contract. Mike O'Shea is already set to go down in history as one of the greats here in Winnipeg, if not the CFL. Well, he's already in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, as a coach, one of the greats. And he's now in the middle of his final season of his contract. So it has people asking, Paul Friesen of the Winnipeg Sun talked to Wade Miller about it. Wade Miller didn't say anything, and he's sticking with it. He's just saying, we'll deal with it at the end of the season. That could be a courtesy. This is just my take. That could be a courtesy to Mike O'Shea, just saying, hey, take your time. Do what you need to do. It could also be knowing that the door from the O'Shea camp, and again, just speculation, they want to leave the door open for him to make a move in his life. So,
so you're saying there's speculation in the let's say that again. There's speculation in the O'Shea camp that they want to they want to keep the door open.
No, my speculation
Your
is
speculation is
you don't sign a contract extension because you do want to go somewhere else. Like, remember at the Grey Cup last year?
Yeah.
There was all that talk about Mike O'Shea going to Edmonton. Oh, they're going to make him, the highest paid coach and this and that. And he just swatted it away. It was just like, no, I'm not even thinking about that. And, I can't see Mike O'Shea making a move to Edmonton.
No.
I can see Mike O'Shea making a move to Toronto. I can see him making a move back to Southern Ontario.
Really, eh? Just because it's home?
It's home. It's home. I know fans aren't going to want to hear that. I totally get it.
Do you have any? So not to put you on the spot, but
I don't have any. No, pure speculation.
I completely disagree with you, and I'll say why. But let me ask you this. And by the way, we can't finish on this point. We got to do our Wallabies Warrior White to the right. Okay. Of course. Vicky Short, bite your tongue, DP. I love you, Vicky. And by the way, congratulations not only on the retirement, but you get to sit in my section, and that's amazing. No, you won the golf package. What is it? Is it just because he's from Southern Ontario, or do you have any other reason that you think he might leave?
Well, his son was playing football at Guelph, where Mike
Yeah.
O'Shea also played football, Kyle Walters too. Um, you know, I think being close to home is a huge appeal for anybody. But Mike O'Shea talks a lot about family. He doesn't talk about his personal life much at all, if at all.
Yeah.
But you get the sense, in working near him for years, you get the sense that family is important to him. And we got to remember, like his wife and his children, they're all from there. They all grew up there. They all have ties there. Coming to Winnipeg is an opportunity for a special teams coordinator to put his stamp on the league, to put his stamp on his career, and to find success. And that's what he did. But could you tell me right now, Zach, could you tell me right now a single team in the CFL that wouldn't want Mike O'Shea in their organization?
Absolutely not. Of course
Only
they
one
would.
team.
They
I would be like, "No, we're good. We're good."
they'd
Maybe
be as
maybe Calgary?
maybe
Maybe
Calgary.
Calgary?
They'd be as
Maybe.
dumb as me in my 20s if they
Maybe.
thought that. I mean, really. And it didn't get much better in my 30s, although I'm almost out of there. But yeah, man, like I hear you. Like maybe he wants to go home. Maybe part of him does want the GM role. He wants to move up. Maybe he wants to do other things. I mean, he can. I heard. I think it was actually a Sportsnet article. Funny enough, on O'Shea this week. I don't remember who wrote it that said, Barker was talking about how O'Shea was making a killing in medical sales. Like he was doing
Right.
well before he became the special
Yes.
teams coordinator.
Yeah.
But he
That was
didn't,
a good,
he
that was
was
a good
so,
article by Mike Corrine. Really good article.
well, yeah. Okay. Thank you. So there was a great article. I was just surprised Sportsnet did a CFL article, but nothing against them. But he was making a killing. And when he came to Toronto and he was a special teams coordinator, he didn't have a playbook. He didn't use a playbook. He
Right.
just relied on the guys to do things right. So he's an interesting
It
cat.
was just like it was like a mentality. It was like
Yeah.
a system, and it's like, if this happens, then we do this. Like there was no play calling.
That's like
It was
me at
weird.
home, by the way. I never have a plan. Like my wife has all the plans at home. I just have a mentality. I have a mentality. Today's going to be a good day for the Schnitzer family. You know what I think about O'Shea is I think he will stay here as long as he likes to coach. I think he is one of the most loyal, straightforward guys that I've ever seen or heard from. I think what he says he means, and what he means he says. I think if he says he keeps wanting to coach, if he says he doesn't want it to be a distraction, I believe him 100%. Maybe it's just me. I believe him. I think you're going to see a statue like Bud Grant of O'Shea. I think he'll probably get 3-4 Grey Cups here at least. Maybe I'll eat my words someday. I think home for him is here now. I think he loves this team. He loves the culture.
Well, he built the culture.
He built the culture. I don't think he wants to be a GM. I just haven't got that sense from him. So I see him here for like, maybe I hope to God, Darren. Not that anyway, I'll leave my religious beliefs aside. I believe in something, but I think it's going to become the Mike O'Shea coaching tree, just like the John Huffnagel coaching tree, the
It
Bill
could be.
Belichick. You're going to see Buck Pierce get hired as an HC. You're going to. I saw waiters say Jordan Younger. Jordan Younger is a great coach. He's going to be a coach someday, right?
Yep.
Maybe
But
Boudreaux goes somewhere. But I think O'Shea stays, and I think it'll be like the Wally Buono effect, and that's just what I see from him.
This comment from Dennis, the question is, how much more money will Mike O'Shea get elsewhere? I don't think it's about money at all.
If it was about money, he would have gone to Edmonton. They would have paid him what, 700, 800,000?
I don't know. Do you maybe Mike O'Shea wants to be a GM. Maybe he wants to be,
think so.
like Orlando Steinauer's president of football operations and head coach, right?
I
But
think Mike O'Shea
I
just
don't
wants
think
to
this.
win, just like his players. I think that's all he freaking cares about, man.
Well, he's won a bunch. He's got a whole pile of rings. He is undefeated as a player and a coach
6-0.
in Grey Cups. 6
And I think I don't think his hunger is sated, buddy. I don't know when it will be.
That very well may be. But look what he made in Winnipeg out of seemingly nothing.
Yeah.
He had a GM who knew what he was doing. They started from scratch. They cut all-stars. They cut guys that played another 3, 4, 5 years in the CFL. They just cut them. Javon Johnson, Jonathan Hefney. There was a whole bunch. They just cut them. They're like, we're starting from scratch. We want a different direction. We want to really go be a blank slate. I don't think this has any, this is again, speculation purely. I don't think this has anything to do with money. It has everything to do with being where you want to be. Family, history, friends, everything. I know when Mike O'Shea came to Winnipeg, it was a huge adjustment for him because he was a coordinator and a player in Toronto and Hamilton where the media scrutiny was much, much less than it was in Winnipeg. And he came to Winnipeg and, in that first year or two, there were some growing pains. He made some comments about, like dealing with the media and that sort of thing. For sure. It was a learning curve for each side. It was a learning curve for us. It was definitely a learning curve for me as a young reporter trying to, do my job and learn how to deal with somebody who did it very, very differently in Mike O'Shea. But going back to Toronto, like somebody in the comments said, does he want to coach in front of an empty stadium? If he gets to, spend time with his parents or his brothers and sisters, or, his kids get to, be with their friends, or his wife gets to be with her friends or her family, whatever. Yeah. I don't think that's the important thing. Life, family, and health is the most important thing. Work comes after that. We all know that. Mike O'Shea has made his mark. He probably has his opportunity to go anywhere he wants. I think he would love to stay in Winnipeg, but I don't speculate. I'm not saying he's leaving. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the door is open.
Yeah.
His decision.
Yeah, the door is definitely open, 100%. You got to pull up Lynn Rhyme. She's been rocking it all night, defending your T-shirt, and she might be the all-star tonight of the chat. I know it's hard to take it from waiters, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I hear what you're saying. I think he can leave Winnipeg in the off season and go hang out in North Bay. I don't know, but I have this gut feeling that I see him around for another decade or two, and he loves winning, he loves coaching, and waiters.
Yeah, nice waiters like that. When
I would love to write a book, or you write a book about O'Shea one day, man. Like I would love to get inside that guy's mind. I feel like
I don't know if
not only is he super
he
smart,
doesn't want to let anybody in.
Yeah, but you know what he would though?
Thing.
He might let them in if he thinks it's going to help young coaches. He's that kind of guy. Like he's only going to do it if someone else is going to benefit. I don't know, but I'd love to get inside his mind. I feel like I'm a big, I'm a therapist and all this stuff, and I won't get into this too much, but I'm big into mindfulness. And mindfulness plays a role in this Bombers team because it's one play at a time. They're always 1-0. All those cliches, that's being mindful of the moment, right? Because if you're in the past or you're in the future, you lose your opportunity in the present, right? And there's a zen of him that is unbelievable, and I think that accounts for his somewhat accounts for his magnetism as a leader. He's just so consistent. Leaders have to be, and Donnie C, sign guy, he's a professional in this field of leadership, but they've got to care, they've got to be competent, and they've got to be consistent. And he's all three of those in spades. Like someone needs to, this is a poster boy for effective leadership. We are watching, like I always talk about Kalaris and watching something special, right? Just the talent, the it factor, all the things we talked about last time. O'Shea is someone special. Like he is someone extra special. And when we're looking back on this, when I can't go to spin class because I don't have any knees left or whatever it is, we'll look back at O'Shea in the same way we look back at Bud Grant. And we'll look back at Kalaris in the same way maybe we look back at Kenny Plain. That this is a golden era and that they're doing something very, very special. And maybe they're not all flashy about it. O'Shea is just the king of subtlety and I don't know what the word is, but he's subtle, he's soft spoken, and he's just confident, quietly confident, right? He's no Jeff Reinbold, but yeah, man, he's just he's something else. I just love Mike O'Shea, and I love what he represents to the city of Winnipeg and the culture of the team. It's something, even if you lose, that you got to be proud of, man.
Dennis asked, does anybody know what Mike O'Shea makes? Specifically, no. But generally speaking, head coaches and GMs in the CFL make about $500,000 a year. Could
Similar
be
to
more.
me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. By the way, if you want to sponsor the show, hit the hotline.
please.
816-TIPS. 816-8477. 500,000, 600,000-700,000. You know, I imagine if you got a dual role like a Chris Jones, you're in the upper part of that. But there is a football operations cap. You know, people in the live chat saying like, you know, money's the god of this world and Mike O'Shea's like anybody else and he'll go for the bigger paycheck. The reality is it's similar to, you know, players taking less money so they can build a good team around them. You know, Mike O'Shea has always talked about having good coaches around him and veterans, and that's how he learned, you know, like Richie Hall and, you know, guys like that. You can't pay a guy $1 million. You can't. That's like more than a third of the entire coaching cap.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're going to then just sign a bunch of rookie coaches and, you know,
that's what BC did 2 years ago, right? With
yes,
who's the DC? Devon Claybrooks, who I think you'll see again. He's a great coach.
He was a great DC in Calgary, but it just shows how important it is to have the right players and the right mentality set by the GM and the head coach. Yeah. I mean, well, that's that filled some time, didn't it?
That was great. I mean, I told you we could get to 2 hours, but I don't know. You seem set on
I don't even know. I don't know if we will.
Yeah,
let's get into our Walby's Warrior, Westwood's Wide to the Right, and our Happy Honker Awards for
baby.
Week 7. Bombers win 24-10 in Edmonton. Where do you want to start, Zach?
Well, do we want to go 1 for 1, or do you want me to give you all 4? Like, how do we want to do this? Let's go 1 for 1, because then, you know, people can compare and contrast.
Okay.
So I'll do Walby's Warrior as Dalton Schoen.
Nice.
4 catches for 36 yards and a touchdown. And the best part of it all, he made Duron Carter look like a geriatric old man on the field that we knew he was. Nothing wrong with being geriatric, but I just love it that Duron Carter was made to look like a dummy on that play.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. It'll be on one of the top 10 plays of the year, I think. And I think just shown someone had to step in for Ellingson. He likes to throw to slot backs, does Zach Kalaris. And I think Schoen just brought it. And he was the engine of that offense. And he's in his first freaking year. It's Dalton Schoen.
Yeah, it's beyond impressive. That's a good Walby's Warrior. I will move over to the defensive side of the football, and I will give Walby's Warrior to somebody who finally got rewarded for their outstanding play, despite really not being talked about too much, which is a good thing. And that is defensive back Dietrich Nichols. He was in a very unique zone style blitz, blitzing type formation at that time or positioning. A tipped ball came right to him, and he was able to get an interception. Nobody's throwing at Dietrich Nichols this season. It says everything about how good he is as a guard. And by guard, I don't mean offensive lineman. I mean about guarding receivers and running backs. Few can do it as well as him. I see him as a absolute runaway all-star so far in 2022. Dietrich Nichols, you're my Wallabies warrior for
I think
tonight.
that's an awesome pick, man. I think he deserves it, and it's nice. It is nice when a guy who doesn't get thrown to. It's like when you don't talk about the O line because they didn't do anything wrong, right? We don't talk about Dalton. We don't talk about Nichols because he's just that good. There's nothing to talk about. There's no plays because no one. It's like Delvin Breaux back in his heyday,
right?
I mean, you could do a honorable mention to Willie Jefferson. He was a beast tonight, knocking down 3 balls. Okay, why Westwood's wide to the right is actually someone's saying it's Deron Carter. No, I'm not going to say Deron Carter. I am going to say, like, you could easily say it was that penalty they took on Legio, which extended that 9-minute and 27-second drive. But really, for me, it was at the end of the third quarter, 1-score game. Stephen McAdoo called that throw on 2nd and 2 when you have a massive man and Taylor Cornelius, Mount Cornelius. All he has to do is fall forward. He'd done it 3 or 4 times on 2nd and 2. They don't even use a wedge package, short yardage package. They don't even need it. And he threw the ball against the dark side defense, and Jefferson bats it down. They go on to miss a makeable field goal. They get 1 point. It's then 17-10. And I thought to myself, that is one they're going to look at and just kick themselves. I thought that was just silliness. I thought it was the coach out coaching himself and McAdoo. You saw it last week in Calgary. It's just something that the Bombers don't do, and that's why they won this game, I think.
Yeah. No, I that's a good one. I won't say I completely agree because I think, I'll agree with Brandon Rodriguez, who's watching live on YouTube. Brandon says it right. Wide to the right is another roughing the kicker penalty by the Elks, and another being same thing that happened with the Stampeders last week, giving the Blue Bombers a touchdown. That's my Westwood wide to the right because that's a huge, huge blunder that could have kept, it could have kept this game a lot closer than it was. Well, you got a Happy Honker Award.
But by the way, it was actually contacting the kicker.
Right. Same thing.
I know. I'm just being a dick.
What time is it? 1:45 in the morning here in Winnipeg.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just being a wanker. As our friend Frank Horsley in Nottingham would say, he was a big Bomber fan, but I think it's 7 in the morning there. I don't think he can watch our game.
That's the beauty of Bonfire Sports.
Well, I hope he's watching.
You can watch the replay. You can check out the podcast. Links to all that, bonfiresports.ca. Just search for Bonfire Sports on your favorite podcast app. It's there.
Oh, it's there. And I guess we already.
People. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. No, it's all you get it out there quickly, man.
I do.
You're like Nick Taylor. It's speedy. Like you just get it out there. I love and I listen to the podcast the next day every day because I'm a narcissist. I like to listen to it. No, I actually listen to it because I told you, Darren, I joined your team because I wanted to create a show that I would like to listen to. And literally I listened to it because I like the content. I listened to it the next day. It could be Scott Roger talking. It could be Winnipeg Gordo. It could be Terrell Hintz, Lynn Reimer, Christopher Matt. It could be Danny, Andrea. I don't know who could be talking. I don't care. It just happens to be me, but I love the content, man. I just love listening to it. But
it's fun, right? We're just having a good time,
man. We're having a good time talking about football. Burning Point, I think we should keep that. And I know we already talked about
Bonfire Burning Point.
The Bonfire Burning Point # Turning Point was I think that's an easy one. That's the legs hit. Legio getting hit again. I don't know if he sold it, but Mac Henry was having a pretty good game. I think he almost blocked that punt. Waiters is saying, I think he had a sack. I don't know, but you know, you have a chance to take that team off the field and maybe kick a long field goal that maybe they miss. They're only up one score, 17-10, and then that turns into the Drew Brown touchdown.
I will give my bonfire burning point to Dalton Schoen's 41 yak yards on his touchdown that made it 17-6. That was right before the end of the second quarter, right going into half. You want to talk about momentum and this and that and the other. The Bombers played much better in the second half, but that was just like a real right hook to the Edmonton Elks chin.
That's a good point.
And that's my burning point for this one, because I think that's when really they said, okay, enough playing around. Let's put the pedal down. Okay, happy honker.
Well, I don't know if fans are going to be mad at me. By the way, are we attributing the burning point officially to?
This is hilarious.
Jeff Kabilas? Is it Jeff Kabilas?
Yeah, brought to you by the Kabilas gas mask bong.
Okay, he's gonna get a shout out on. He's gonna get a shout out.
What a jab that is, man! Oh man!
Oh, Scott Roger, that's good. Like the Bombers D denying points after turnovers. DB, you talked about that right at the beginning. Like that's massive. After the 2 picks, like what they go 2 and out, and then what the
three, like a 24-yard strike to Kenny Lawler, and then 2 plays and they were out.
That defense, we'll be writing books about them too. Not me. I can't write. Okay, happy honker. Actually, I don't know if this is off base, but I am actually going to go to the other team for this. I am going to give a shout out to Taylor Cornelius. Like I said, he accounted throwing the ball and running the ball. I believe, Darren, it was almost 300 yards of offense. He wasn't just throwing, like last year when you saw him play by the Bombers, he was keying in on his first read. He was just throwing there. He was without Darrell Walker tonight. I thought he managed the offense very well. He had a few very long drives, 23 first downs, 230 something yards, 49 yards rushing or something you said. I thought he commanded the offense well. He beat Rose a few times on the field side. When a quarterback throws to the field side, I feel like they're looking at the whole field, because that's a bigger, longer throw, and he's got a good arm.
Less now.
Yeah, maybe less now, but yeah, I mean, sure, Turk, you're right, Turkinator. He didn't get in the end zone, but he nearly did. If he would have thrown it inside on Lawler, he missed that one a bit. But Zach missed one too. So I'm going to give him a happy honker, and I do hope, as long as it's not at the expense of us, more at the expense of the Riders, I hope the Elks overtake them. And I just hope the Elks could turn it around, even though everybody seems to have a polarized relationship with Chris Jones. I do. Yeah. You remember in Saskatchewan, that first year was a tire fire, but he turned that team around. He got within millimeters of taking them to the Grey Cup in 2017 through the crossover. So I think it's nice to see Cornelius. And Edmonton is full of great people. The president is great. The fans are great. The Turf District podcasts are friends in Edmonton. They're just awesome people. And so I just hope that Taylor Cornelius keeps improving, and that he beats the crap out of the Riders when he plays them.
Is that coming up soon?
I don't know, actually.
I'm not even sure.
Sunday's game. Oh my God. That is going to be interesting.
Yeah. What is Edmonton got here?
Who are they starting at quarterback? Dolagala?
Yeah.
That's like a Roman emperor. Maybe probably one of those Roman emperors that lasted like 2 days and then got murdered. I don't know, man. But
something
anyway,
like
who's your happy honker?
Riders in Edmonton, Saturday, August 13th.
I hope to goodness that is the first home win.
Yeah. Okay, my happy honker award, I'm going to give it to somebody who has taken a lot of flack, who I think maybe we didn't talk enough about tonight. I'm giving the happy honker to Brady Oliveira. 13 carries for 62 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. It hits his high of the season. But 4.8 yards per carry, and his long was 10.
Yeah.
So that is a legit average, not like blown up by like a 50-yard run or something like that. Brady Oliveira ran hard. I saw, especially early in the game, he ran with purpose. I know I got it in my notes here kind of late in the second quarter, started to struggle a little bit. But I think people should be happy with what they saw from Brady Oliveira tonight. So there's your happy honker award.
And I'm going to give you a happy honker because of all the 4 categories we talk about, the warrior, the wide to the right, the burning
Mhm.
point, the happy honker. Every time you've said one, everyone, Andrea, Jeff, Waiters, Lynn, they're like, oh, great choice, DB. Great choice, DB. All of mine, absolutely F all, nothing.
Well,
Come on.
well, hey, maybe you're a fan, right? You've always been a fan. You continue to be a fan. That's who you are, and that's great. I always try to do my job as a non-fan to the benefit of the fans. I watch the game with the sole purpose in mind of what do fans need to know? What
Yeah.
do fans need to know is important? A journalist's number one job, and I'm not saying like I'm a journalist. Like there's real journalists out there doing like real work.
Oh, come
I'm in the
on.
toy box. I'm in the toy box as people often refer to it. I'm just having fun talking sports. But as somebody who is an objective observer, I like job number one is what's important. What do people need to know? And that's how I watch the game. So, I'm happy people are in agreement. That's all I'll say.
Well, and even though you are a pro, I know you self-deprecate. You are an approachable guy, and if you ever hit up DB on Twitter, on his DMs, or text him, he's a true CFL journalist because he's approachable. He's a nice guy. It doesn't matter who you are. Uh, I was looking back at my Twitter way back, like I sent you a message years ago, and you even responded.
Oh yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a good Winnipeg dude. Yeah, I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you sometime. But
Oh, that must have
yeah,
been years ago. That must have
yeah,
been years ago.
I met you at an event, another sporting event, and you came up and talked to me. Yeah, man, we have a long history.
How about that?
But
I
you're
didn't know that.
objective. You're objective, but I am the chart master. Thank you, Denis. The beautiful chart. I think I've hit on a winner here. Six portions. OD and special teams for each quarter for each team. I think I'm going places. I'm
Think you're going
charting. I'm
places?
going to be charting.
Hey, there's worse places to be going than going charting. Uh, well, what an ugly game that was. An ugly win for the Blue Bombers, but they're 7-0. They will come home and try to regroup, get healthy. Lots of guys kind of on the verge of returning to the lineup. Ellingson, Jeff Coate, Jesse Briggs, Dakota Prukup. We'll see if that helps shore things up a little bit. Carlton Agodosi, hoping to get an update on him maybe as early as Tuesday when Zach, you and I do Bonfire midweek live at 7:30. But this was a ton of fun. I mean,
Yeah,
Friday night, can't beat it.
a Saturday morning, can't beat it either. And
That's right.
shout out to Lynn Reimer for joining us for your first post game. I hope you join every time. You're killing it on the chat. And David Froze, happy honker. David Fraze, sorry. Refs thanking crew for adjusting the clock. Did that happen? That's cute.
I don't
That's
know.
a cute CFL thing. Anyway, yes, we look forward to midweek, folks. It's going to be great.
Like,
We're
look at
gonna
this. Like, it's 1 a.m, and like the live chat is as lively as ever. Like, just speaks to how engaged people are here on Bonfire. What an awesome football community, sporting community, people community we have here in
yeah.
Southern Manitoba. It's awesome. And for everybody that's watching and listening, from areas far away, you're part of it too. That's why Zach and I do this. It's for you. It's so we can all kind of enjoy, come together, and talk about the best game on earth, and that's football.
Hell yeah, baby.
People will
Love.
disagree with me with that. I know I'm in Winnipeg. I know that.
Oh no, man!
Uh,
Football, it's the best team sport in the world. So, and our Jets could learn a little bit from our culture. I'm just saying,
yes.
just teeing up your maybe some interesting, juicy Jets content. Darren's going to get into in the winter. We'll
Oh
see.
yeah, little tease,
If
little
only I knew.
NHL.com tease.
If only I knew about Jet stuff. Maybe I could just be like the clown on the show or something. I don't know. Like I have opinions.
I think there's already enough clowns at the Jets games and on Twitter and in just in the community. But I will tease this NHL.com. Very
Yes.
likely these three stories I will write in the coming weeks. Chaz Lucius, catch up with him after his first NCAA season. The Winnipeg Jets first round pick last year. His brother was a fourth round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes this year in 2022. So I'll catch up with him. I'm going to write a story about Brad Larson, the Swedish player, the Blue Bombers, the Winnipeg Jets, took in the first round, the late first round pick they had from the Andrew Kopp trade. And I will I'll write a piece on Rutger McGroarty, and I'll get a proper pronunciation from him for us broadcasters here. That'll be covering the Jets, but we'll get the latest on Rutger McGroarty, and I'll write those stories. So keep it locked to my Twitter and NHL.com. We're gonna have
Yeah, I
fun
know
with
Tamara's a big fan of the Jets. She'll be locked in. Of course, people are fans of the Jets. They love the Jets. And your stuff is great, Darren. Yeah, check them out. And folks, one last word for me. I'm at 891 followers on Twitter, and I only need 9 more. So,
Oh,
someone who's looking for a follow up.
890,
891. I'm
Okay.
close.
We got to get you like 110 more.
Yeah, I need 1,000 in order to fulfill my the vacuous, deep, desperate hole in my soul. But anyway, we'll talk about that another show. I would appreciate 9 more, and I will follow you back. So at Zach Schnitzer 48, follow me. I want 900. I don't know. There's no reason for it. I just want it. Okay. And
Hey, once you get to 1,000, then they just come flowing
that's
in.
what you said. But
Yeah.
my mom also said I'd be 5'10". So I don't know, man. I don't know. But Zach Schnitzer 48. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Yeah. Anyway.
Adam Draward, thank you for correcting me. Lambert. What did I say? Larson.
Did you say Adam
Brad
Lambert?
I think it's
From
Brad Larson. It's Brad
American
Larson.
Idol?
Yeah, I'll get it straight. I'm going to write a story on him, so I better get it straight. Holy cow. Live on YouTube. Quite a bumble from the football guy.
Well, I can't wait for your Jets content, buddy. I like reading you and Murat Atesh.
Well,
I like a lot of great Jets content in Winnipeg.
Adam, I know you were asking earlier for an update on Brandon Alexander. We talked about it earlier in the show, but I'll quickly let you know. Probably not anytime soon. Maybe after Labor Day. We'll see how Brandon Alexander returns to practicing, which he has still not done yet. The Kachuk traded to the Florida Panthers. Jonathan Huberdeau amongst a pretty healthy package.
Oh,
For
really?
Brad Treliving and the Calgary Flames. Yeah, I think Calgary
Huberdeau.
got away with a good one.
Yeah.
Really good trade. Yeah. But let's digress. We'll take a shot and sign off. The Bombers win 24-10. It was ugly. It was strange. It was weird, but it was a win for the W. They continue to roll 7-0 on the season. The real test is going to be 1 week from today. That is Friday night in Calgary. The Stamps are coming off a bye. They will be rested. They will have a bitter, nasty taste in their mouth from a game they were this close to tying with 45 seconds left in Winnipeg. It's going to be a Wild West showdown at McMahon next week.
And Denis, I'll show you my chart one more time because I love you, buddy. I will be in Calgary, tantalizingly close to McMahon, Darren, that very night, but it's my brother-in-law's wedding. So if I want to be married and have a nice family, which is what you say is the most important thing, I don't know. It might be the Bombers for me. I can't go to the game, but I'll be on my phone looking at it. Maybe when people are walking down the aisle, we'll see. Poor Zach, so close yet so far.
Yeah.
But
Well,
great,
and you know
great.
what? Adam is like my master copy editor tonight because
Uh-oh.
he's correcting me again. Saturday night in Calgary. It is a
Wow.
week from today now that it's Saturday morning. I was looking I was looking at something else.
I
I think
like
I was
this,
looking
Adam. He's always on the chat, but you gotta stay. You gotta
it's
keep DB in check.
yeah, I gotta get like, I didn't even eat before the game. So like
Yeah,
blood
dude.
sugars are running low.
Order
I'm pretty
some
much
skip.
my mug says it right now.
Hey, we made it. We almost made it to 2 hours. It was like when you get a substitute teacher and you want to just keep them talking about their dog so you don't have to do any work.
Right, so you
That's
don't
what
have
I
to do
was
any work.
doing to see if we could get
Right.
to 2 hours. And like, you can't not get to 2 hours because we're 14, 13, 12 seconds away. But
Yes, we are.
Lynn Reimer will be at the game. Waiters will be there. If you're going to be there, give us a shout out at Bonfire Sports. We want to see you. We want to get a picture. They're going to need some extra help if they played like they did tonight. They're going to need some fan support. But we'll talk on midweek, Darren. I think they'll pull themselves together and make a game of it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Can't wait to talk to you folks on Tuesday.
Larry, they make about $6,000 total for winning a playoff game and then the Grey Cup. So nice little bonus for the guys, just to quickly answer his question. Okay, hey, let's do it on Tuesday. As you said, we're going to be right back here next week, Saturday night, after the Bombers Stampeders rematch at McMahon. Pregame, as always, the day before the game. So Friday, 3:00, Chris Walby will join me right here on Bonfire Sports. Zach, I'll see you Tuesday night at 7:30 for Bonfire midweek, following a little Sunday night football with the Stamps and Riders.
That's gonna be fun to watch, my friend.
Really
and good night, Phyllis. Thank you for joining every time. And she's gonna try and get there too. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Phyllis.
All right. Cheers, everybody. Have a great night.
Sayonara.